How's it going, everyone? Mufara here. Welcome to Heliopolis Radio. Thank you all for tuning in. Today, we've been fortunate to be joined by Dr. Alan Salas. He's the author of number one best-selling Amazon book, Brain Power Secrets. He's also the creator of the Mind Clearing Program, and he's served over 4,000 clients across Europe and the US. So, a lot of experience, a lot of work with different people, different stories, different problems. He's been kind enough to come onto the podcast today just to share a bit about himself, his mind clearing program, what he does, and perhaps how it could benefit some of you if you're interested in it. So, without further ado, Dr. Salas, I hand it over to you. Tell us about yourself and what has brought you down this path.
Yes, Mufaro, thank you for the introduction. That was perfect, Yeah, so, like I think everything in life, it starts with your life experiences, right? So why we're always asking why we're doing this, why we're doing that. And so, well, I used to live in south of France, right? And minding my own business. I used to live on a sailing boat, and renting boat in south of France. And I saw myself helping other people, right? And as kind of a healing things. But I had nobody in my family was doing that, so I started to ask my my client, right? And so they told me, you know what? There's a Chinese doctor that's coming to town, Alan. If you want, you can talk to him, and maybe he can give you some direction. And sure enough, I jumped on, I just, first opportunity, I just talked to him, and basically told me, you need to read those three books, and after, I'm sorry, and after just come to visit me when you're done with the season, right? Which means like mid-October, and I give you a treatment, and we talk. And sure enough, I did that. I read all the books, right? And so
Mm.
they were like the Tao taking, which is very
Mm.
philosophical Chinese, the Tao, right? And there was the Hara, Hara, which is a Japanese. It means belly. That's why traditionally they kill themselves if they dishonor themselves, at the
Mm.
center of gravity of a human being, which Hara means belly. And,
Mm.
and and the other book was about the basically the man between the earth and the sky, right? So very philosophical, which I enjoy very much. So, and so I went to see him, and I, of course, I inquired about Chinese medicine. And he told me, if you want to do like me, meanings that if you want to know truly what you're doing, you need to go to China, spend 10 years, learn Chinese,
Mm.
and get involved with old tech. I said, oh, Philip, 1 minute. I'm 30 years old, man. I want to practice one day, 10 years. I love to travel, but 10 years. And so he looked at me and smiled. And I always remember, he said, you know what, Alan, you look strong. Why not chiropractic? And I
Mm.
said, literally, what's that? So he gave me, some information about like some French people who went to the US to study chiropractic. I got some information about the school. And what was really cool for me to see, it's like they talk about the innate intelligence, our
Mm.
own ability to heal ourselves. And Mufaro for me was like fascinating, I just
Mm.
so bottom line, to make a long story short, I sold my boat business. I sold my boat. I used to have long hair, party like every night, getting drunk. I mean, really different lifestyle. So imagine that, Mufaro. I just so my dad. I said, Dad, and my mom obviously. And I said, Dad, I'm going to America to become a doctor. They used to call me the gypsy. I had
Oh,
long hair
wow.
and all that. So yeah, they had a good laugh, right? But they didn't know, it was hard for me to really make them understand that my mission in life has been given to me. And when you've
Mm.
got such a blessing, such a
Mm.
gift, you don't even think about saying no. You just say, okay, how I'm going to do that, right? Right away.
Mm.
There's no question about in any doubt that you have to do it. And so I graduated from a chiropractic school, right? And I started to treat people, right? I mean, that's what we're
Mm.
supposed to do, right? I'm
And
sorry.
you did
And
all
so what
this at
happened?
a, sorry to cut you, you did all this at a very late stage or maybe later stage. You said you were maybe in your 30s. That's
Yeah,
pretty late to start chiropractic school and everything, but you did it at such a young age, which is actually incredible. Sorry, but it's such older
yeah.
age, yeah.
I didn't have a choice, I mean, when it's be given to you, you just there's no question, right? It's like
Mm.
the best way I can say that is like that you know, right? And when you know
Mm.
that you know, you just say, okay, how I'm going to do that. That's the
Mm.
how that I was not sure. And thanks God that that Chinese doctor really helped me.
Mm.
So I did graduate earlier that, and I started to treat people. And here's the problem that I encounter, right? It's basically I will start to treat people and they will get better pretty soon, right? And after they will plateau pretty soon too.
Mm.
So, and in order to maintain their plateau, they still have to come to see me. I say, okay, hold on. I think there's a problem here because
Mm.
I know few things, right, for sure. And this one I know for sure.
Mm.
So if you got a problem with Pharaoh in life, and it can be any problem, it can be a health problem, a relationship problem, a
Mm.
prosperity problem, no matter
Mm.
what problem you have, you need to know two things in order to resolve your problem permanently. Meanings what? Meanings that you're done with the problem, you move on, you don't even think about the problem anymore,
Mm.
right? And so what are those two things? Number one, you need to know what's causing your problem, right? If you
Mm.
don't need what's causing your problem, how can you fix it? And number two, you need to know to have the technology of a savoir-faire, like we say in France,
Mm.
how to fix it, right? And you need to
Mm.
know how to fix it. And when you know those two things, you're done.
Mm.
So I was thinking, well, maybe chiropractic, maybe it's not really all the cause of a problem, right? Of your health problem.
Mm.
And maybe the way to fix it is not, there's maybe other ways and better way and more complete way to do it. And I
Mm.
started to inquire about that. And when I realized that chiropractic deal only with 20% of our nervous system, which is all the nerves coming out of your spine, on the side
Mm.
of your spine, and going everywhere in your body, it's only 20%. I said, why not doing 100%? So I became a cranial specialist. It means we can
Wow.
move with cranial bone, which can impact the central nervous system, which is made of your brain and the spinal cord. And uh, Faru, I don't know how to tell you that, but I always have some insight in my life. So
Mm.
I started to do things out of the blue to my patient that you always have some patient that you are more comfortable with, right? And
Mm.
so
Yeah.
I was doing
Yeah.
that, and I started to create that breathing technique, right? That kind of energy technique that people loved it. The first time I did that out of the blue, I remember that girl told me, "Please don't stop." I said, "Okay, I won't." And I started to implement that, right? And so that was for the physical. And after people were coming and complaining about pain in their joint, and chiropractic wouldn't even touch it, even the energy technique. Why? Because it was a different kind of stress. It's what we call inflammation, right? So
Mm.
it's basically fire in your body, what we call the chemical stress, how your internal chemistry is affecting you, right? The
Mm.
food you eat, your environment, your toxin, and all that. So
Mm.
I started to inquire about that, right? And so you will, for example, even now, if you come to my practice, I will do some muscle testing, meaning
Mm.
your body will tell me exactly which organ are under stress. And again, what's causing, what are the stressors causing the stress, right?
Mm.
So I made a practice out of it. I had like 4 employees. I taught them, how to do things to help
Mm.
me out. And I was seeing 250 actually, 250 patients a week. So
Wow,
it was like,
that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
I
It's a
know,
lot
tell
of
me
work.
about it. But I was living the American dream, right? I was supposed to, I
Mm.
was doing the right things, my mission in life, okay? I was helping lots of people, right?
Mm.
And so, like you say, it was lots of work, right? And so what happened, my mind was only into the practice and helping more people, right? And so I had to say that. But what happened is like after working during the day, I was coming back home and I was there, but I was not present for my family, and I
Mm.
started to neglect them, right? And so of course when you do that, because I married a French woman, that I met in a
Mm.
bar in Kansas City,
Mm.
and so we ended up divorcing. And when you
Mm.
divorce and there's a kid involved, it's never a handshake, trust me.
It's a no, I'm sorry about that. That's a very difficult
Yeah,
thing to
it
go through.
happens.
Mm.
Everything happened for a reason. And so basically that's what happened. So I become depressed,
Mm.
and so I was burned out and depressed. That's not a good recipe for business. So my
Mm.
business went from thriving to failing.
Mm.
I had that big practice with 8 treatment room, beautiful, and I ended up being by myself, right?
Mm.
And on top of that, I got diagnosed with early stage of colon cancer. So here I am,
Mm,
Telling you, oh, you need to do that in order to avoid cancer, in order to avoid, the big killers, the
mm,
cardiovascular disease. I'm doing my own program and I get sick. So I have to rethink about everything, my
mm,
relationship, because this happened within a year. My relationship, my prosperity, and my health and my work, right? I have to redefine myself, right? And so that was a little bit overwhelming, but
mm,
I've never been on a victim mode, meaning that,
mm,
oh, why me, because I could blame that on my wife. I could blame, my business failing
mm,
on circumstances, outside circumstances, blah,
mm,
blah, blah. But I knew, Mufaro, I knew that because my dad taught me that. I
mm,
mean, not directly, but my dad was very negative person and very controlling.
mm,
So what happened, he got sick,
mm,
and at 40 years old, he couldn't work. He got on disability and never worked a day in his life.
mm,
So what I saw with that process is like people will call him and say, "Hey, you know what, Jean? How you doing, right?" And so,
mm,
but basically they were asking about his disease. So subconsciously, we're going to talk about that for sure.
mm,
Subconsciously, we say, "Oh, if I'm sick, I get the love and the attention." Meaning that if
mm,
I get better, I won't get the love and attention. And everybody needs love, right?
mm,
This is what we need the most, as a human being, I believe.
mm.
And so, of course, he got stuck in that, uh, we're going to call that limiting belief, and we'll explain what it is. And he never get out of it. So I knew I couldn't
Oh,
be.
that trap, yeah.
I knew. Yeah, you see what I mean. I couldn't trap in that game. And so what happened is like I knew there was like something within me was pushing me to sabotage my health, to
Mm,
sabotage my relationship, and to sabotage my prosperity. And so
mm.
that was since then, I've been on a quest to find out what the heck happened.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's intense. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I guess I was going to ask you since because there are two aspects to suffering, from what I've come to understand, is obviously you ask the why, and then you ask, what am I learning in this process? Most people kind of suffer the most when they have to come to realize, what am I learning in this process? So through all those things, your divorce, your illness, what did you learn about yourself once you were able to distance yourself from the pain you're going through, obviously, which was difficult? What did you learn about yourself throughout that? And obviously, you specialize in the mind, so I should probably ask you more specifically, what did you learn about our mind and how it does things and how, because a lot of people, if you tell an average person their business is going to fail, they'll lose their mind. The mind will completely shut down. But I guess since you had to go through this process, or what did you learn about your mind, and what did you start to do with yourself to kind of find the next steps forward?
Well, that's a loaded question. It really is. But I've learned a lot. I mean, what I've learned about the mind blew my mind literally away. I mean, it's just ridiculous, what we think, what all the things we don't know, or we don't have any clue, we don't think about it. But basically, I've learned like I believe in the law of cause and consequences, right?
Mm,
Cause and effect, right? So for what does it mean? For every cause, there's an effect.
mm,
For every effect, there's a cause. It means I don't believe in luck. I believe in
mm,
good timing, right? And
mm,
that's it. So
mm,
always, my approach was always, okay, what's causing it? Remember, this is what I say. It seems like to be very basic, like,
mm,
in order to resolve a problem, you need to, but if you apply that into your life, you'll be surprised. Okay, so is this like, if I take a drug, is it really the lack of drug the cause of my problem? And obviously it's not, right?
mm,
It's not. So what are really the deep-rooted cause? And when
mm,
you've got this kind of mindset, should I say, it really helps and cut down lots of paths that leading to nowhere
mm, mm,
you
yeah.
know, because of a law of cause and effect. You see what I mean? So I knew like what really helped me is my dad, relax, not showing what not to do, right? But also I knew that it was not only about me. I knew that when I will, I don't know how to translate that really, but it was like, by healing myself, that I will be able to translate that into my patient. So I was not doing that only for myself. I saw the bigger picture, right?
Mm.
And I never really took it personally because deep inside, I knew I will become a better person because of that, right?
Mm.
I just knew it. I just don't know how to say that. That's called intuition, which is the wisdom of our subconscious. I just knew it. And maybe in a way that, I never been afraid of that cancer. I treat
Mm.
it like, I say, okay, let's learn it, right? Let's see what we need to learn about that. And for me, I'm a seeker of three things for sure:
Mm.
knowledge,
Mm.
proof, and freedom.
Wow.
And they all go together. You see what I mean? And so for me, just okay, let's learn and see what happens. And I knew there will be something so much better that will come for myself. I don't know for my patient. Yet I didn't realize that it will be like creating an entire system, the mind clearing system to help other people and teach other people to do that. And that's beyond even what I was thinking at that time. That's why, just, for people that think that they have been everywhere and they think they tried everything, first of all, they didn't resolve your problem because they didn't find what's causing your problem,
Mm.
and they don't know how to fix it. Right? That's it. So there's always hope, right? And so I already have the physical aspect down, right? I mean,
Mm.
not down, but I was pleased with that, right?
Mm.
And the chemical aspect. So we all talk about mind and body connection.
Mm.
So did you notice I didn't say body and mind and say mind and
Mind,
body
body.
connection?
Mm.
Because the mind comes first, right?
First. Mm.
Because like if I give you a treatment, you will feel very relaxed, right? But and you say, oh man, I feel so good. Maybe some people will have emotional release, who knows? But that's not an emotional treatment. That's a good side effect of a physical treatment. And that's why the confusion comes. Lots of people will tell you, I treat the body, you feel more relaxed, and so your emotion, and so it's
Mm.
emotional treatment. It's not, because you don't go to the cause of the emotional things. You see what I
Mm.
mean? When you started
Mm.
to apply that rule, you say, oh man, yeah, that can be applied to so many things. And
Mm.
so again, I had to find out how I can treat my mind before I'm
Mm.
out of my mind. And so basically, really what happened, seriously, really what happened, I started to Google stuff, like everybody can do, right? And
Mm.
so what is the mind? And so I discovered a few things that, again, are really mind-blowing. So here's the first thing. So it's kind of like we live in two separate worlds at the same time. So
Mm.
Mufaro, what do I mean by that? It's like we've got the outer world, right? And the outer world, it's also called the conscious mind. It's what we are aware of. It's like you're aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, your behavior, your action, your perception of reality, your self-identity, basically, who you think you are, and your personality. So that's the outer world. And after Mufaro, you've got a very mysterious world, a hidden world, right? Very secretive. And we're going to call it the subconscious mind. And so the subconscious mind, Pharaoh, record everything you have been doing in your life from age zero to now.
Mm.
All your skill as a podcaster, as
Mm.
a human being that you require, or whatever job you're doing or whatever, your skill are stored in your subconscious mind. All the physiology that happen with you not thinking about it. It means your digestion, you don't have to think
Mm.
about it. It will do it on your own. Your heartbeat, your breathing, all this is stored and come from your subconscious mind. So I say, wow, that's a lot, right?
Mm.
And so there's two things that I want to point out. The first thing, your conscious mind, who you think you are, process data at 11 bits per second.
Mm.
Your subconscious mind process data at 11 million bits per second. It means right now, talking to you, I can perceive only 11 bits per
Mm.
second of information. But my subconscious mind process 11 million bits more. 11, to be exact, 11 million bits minus 11 more. Isn't it crazy?
It
That's
is
how powerful
scary.
the subconscious mind.
It is scary to think that we take for granted. Sorry, I have a dog here, which is also he gets very rowdy sometimes. So I'm just gonna mute and tell him to shut up real quick.
Okay.
Thanks, my little brother's gone to sort him out. So
Okay.
no, I was saying
So
we do take for granted just how much we do without knowing we're doing it. And I would admit that it's pretty much even scary to think about what's going on there as well. I wouldn't want to
I
know.
think that I think the thing is like what we can perceive with our senses, we are comfortable with that, right? But
100%.
what we call the invisible, we say, what the heck? And we work with all that, like here, there's some frequency that are sent, like that we can communicate, right? Our cell phone, our everything, we deal with the invisible and with different vibration that we cannot perceive all the time, but yet we see the screen, and so it makes it real for us, right? Because our senses are perceiving that.
Mm,
But all the subconscious mind, we cannot perceive it.
mm,
And that's what it makes it so mysterious. And so, because there's not a screen that you can look at, a smell that you can smell like, that's going to make you communicate with your subconscious mind, right? And I know
mm,
what's going on in your subconscious mind.
mm,
And that's why it's so insidious in a way, right? You say, what the heck is going on?
mm,
So now I'm going to tell you something that is even like, it's crazy.
mm.
And this thing is like, so I always tell, if your audience, if you guys are standing up, please sit down, because what I'm going to tell you, and if you are in the car and you're sitting in the car, fasten your seatbelt for sure, because what I'm going to tell you make you redefine who you are. The primary question, who am I, right?
Mm,
That's going to really make you rethink about it, truly
mm,
who you are. So here's the thing. Depends who you're reading. Your conscious mind, it's only 5 or 10% of your mind, meaning your self-identity, who you are, your perception of reality is only 5 or 10% of your mind. Meaning that your subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of your mind. And yet, when we want to heal, when we want to transform ourselves, when we want to grow, we focus only on what? On our conscious mind. Meaning that we use only 5 or 10% of our mind power. Mufaro, I thought about something. Why don't we
mm.
bring the subconscious mind to the party? And that's what the mind clearing is about.
Wow. Excuse me, sorry. No, it is true. And as you mentioned, I think as people, we don't want to face our subconscious because that's the place where we can't lie, for the most part. Our conscious lies, we can lie all day long. We can pretend a lot of things don't exist. But I've come to learn is when we start to talk about things like the subconscious, the uncomfortable truths that reside there can be difficult to face. But from what I'm learning from your story, that's where the path to healing truly lies, is in the areas where perhaps we aren't willing to go, and we aren't willing to face.
It's actually such a perfect transition. I totally agree with what you say. And what I will say, I will talk about. They already know when they do research, double-blind study. It's
Mm,
called the placebo effect.
mm,
So what is the placebo effect? So people who are not clear on that, right? I'm sure everybody have heard about that, but
mm,
what it is. So basically I go in a research study, right? Which I probably never do, but let's pretend I go, right? And they say, you know what? You've got a heartburn, Dr. Salas. And so what you're going to do, you're going to take that pill and we're going to see if the heartburn goes away, right? And so I take the pill and guess what, Mufaro? My heartburn is gone. I said, damn, that stuff works, right? But they say, hold on, hold on. You actually got the sugar pill. So it means that my belief, right, that the sugar pill heal me.
mm,
And they brush it up. They say, oh, this is only the placebo effect. No, 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 no. This is how true healing works. That's how it works. Because those beliefs are in the subconscious mind, right? So let me explain a little bit because we're talking about, belief and all that. So let me put some clarity on that.
mm,
What I didn't tell you yet, it's like your subconscious mind can be programmed. So what do I mean by that? I mean that Mufaro, you have been programmed. I have been programmed. Everybody listening to that program, if I can say, I've been programmed.
Yeah.
So how does it work? So from age 0 to 7 years old, we're like sponges, right? We've got
Mm.
even different brain wave, right? Beta, theta
Mm.
waves. Theta wave is like, it's almost like you hypnotic wave,
Mm.
right? So we're like sponges. So what we perceive in the outside world, our experience, we think, we assume, right? You make the assumption that it's good. That's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Mm.
So you assume one time, you assume a second time, three times, it's become a program. And
Mm.
those programs are stored in your subconscious mind.
Mm.
So you've got basically two kind of program of Pharaoh. You've got programs that are serving you, right? It's kind of like when your mind is working for you. Like you've got a day and you say, damn, I really nailed it. And this is
Mm.
so great, and everything is flowing. I'm so productive and I can feel the love around me. I mean, stuff like that, right? So those are called empowering beliefs, right? Program that's serving you, your mind is working for you and not against you. And after you've got other kind of a program that are called limiting belief, right? So it's kind of like those programs are not serving you any longer, right? They are limiting you, right? And so it's kind of like when you've got a day, like you've got your mind is working against you instead of working for you, and say, oh man, I should have stayed in bed, this
Mm.
is ridiculous, nothing is going, the way I
Mm.
want, and all that stuff, right? And
Mm.
so you've got those two kind of program, right?
Mm.
And so obviously empowering belief are great, right? But limiting belief are the one that are not very helpful. Let me give you an example. I think it will help our audience. So let's pretend there's how powerful those limiting belief can be and
Mm.
how they can affect your present and your future.
Mm.
So let's pretend there's a little girl that see her dad is a drunk alcoholic and
Mm.
come back every night and beat up his wife, her mom.
Mm.
What do you think the little girl down the road, when she can have a romantic relationship? What kind of romantic relationship she's more likely to attract?
And I hope this answer is a strange one, but it's strange to say, but I do believe everything's a lesson and everything's a correction. So because you have the idea that most men beat their wives, and you most likely meet someone who will do the same thing until you learn otherwise.
Yes,
And it's scary
exactly.
to say because from personal experiences, um, a lot of those relationships are scary reflections of the relationships with our parental figures. Um, and what was lacking and what was missing is what we suffer the most and what we have to learn, which is weird.
Yes,
I actually had that question for you, if you don't mind me asking, is do you
yes,
believe,
sir.
regardless of, your spiritual beliefs and inclinations, do you believe
Yep.
that there's by divine design, we are made to suffer to learn? I just wanted to ask that, based off your own experiences.
Um, yes and no. Of course.
Yes.
Yes and no, because yeah, we learn from, I mean, I can relate to that. We learn from, and sometimes we take action that we wouldn't have because of our suffering,
Mm.
right? Now, I will rephrase a little bit. Is it our a birthright to suffer? No, I don't
Mm.
think so. You see, that's why I'm more nuanced about that, and I'm going to explain in why. As when we talk and we go along, and
Mm.
what I answer will make more and more sense, right? It's kind of okay. Make sure you guys, go to the end because you're gonna, yeah. If you think that there was some amazing things like the mind is just so mysterious, but also it's not very complicated,
Mm.
right? So far you with me, right? So
Mm.
let's compare the mind as a computer because we're talking about program, right?
Mm.
So your brain is your hard drive, right? That's the physical aspect. Your software is your subconscious mind. The
Mm.
output of your software is your conscious mind.
Mm.
And your behavior is reflected on the screen of life, right?
Mm.
So you ask me, how you
Mm.
doing, right? So if I've got very good quality software, it means if I've got lots of empowering belief, right?
Mm.
I'm going to say, Mufaro never better, man. Like, you just talk to people in South Africa, I just, meet so interesting people. I created that technique, but I had no idea that, was given to me in a way, right? It took me 3 years, but now it can help so many people. I mean, it's just, life is great. All right. And by the way, I remarried. Now I've got a son. He's 8 years old. I
Wow.
double my practice because I don't have, the overhead that I've got, right? And I heal myself naturally from my colon cancer. So
Wow.
life never better,
Mm.
right? But if I've got lots of limiting belief, right? Okay. And so if I've got lots of limiting belief, I'm going to say, oh man, Mufaro, yeah, I mean, nobody loves me, nobody care about what I do, and why me? It's always happened to me, I can never can reach my goal, and my health is a mess. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of lost. I feel depressed all the time, right? That's it. That's how powerful our limiting belief, right? Because remember when we talk about that little girl, right? But
Mm.
she's a woman now.
Mm.
There's three different case of scenario for her, like you mentioned.
Mm.
The first one is like she married the guy, right?
Mm.
The abusive guy, right? And she marry him, and what? She may get stuck on an
Mm.
abusive relationship for the rest of her life. And
Mm.
we all know people, or I've heard people who say, why is she still with him? Because of a program in the
Yeah.
subconscious mind. What's
Interesting.
causing it, remember? What's causing it is this program, right? Because, like you say, she had that example with the parents and all that, right?
Mm.
That's why. Now, case scenario number two, right? She may get with a guy, right?
Mm.
Okay, and after she's tired of get beaten, right? She may find another guy. So lots of suffering. Maybe she will have kid in between. And
Mm.
there's two things that those ladies are telling me. So the first one. So that's where the suffering comes in, right? Because
Mm.
that's lots of suffering, that path, right? I mean, the case scenario number one is lots of suffering too, right? With the
Mm.
whole. And so basically they say, hey, Dr. Salas, don't talk to me about any more men. I'm done with men. I don't want any more relationship. It's kind of like there's a fire, right,
Mm.
Mufaro?
Mm.
And you put your finger, you get burned once. You put your finger, you get burned twice. You say, hold on, I'm not putting my finger anymore, right? I've
Mm.
learned my lesson. But it's still not healing because you know
Mm.
what, Mufaro? We can heal from our life circumstances. Of course we can. That's how we get lessons from life, like you were saying, right? So the true healing will be she's going to attract somebody that's totally different, the opposite of an abuser, right? Somebody who's kind to her, somebody that see her as an equal, somebody that respected her. And
Mm.
that's how you know that you heal. Okay, scenario number three, she can come and see me or see
Mm.
some people who deal with like a hypnotherapist or something like that, right? And we can reprogram this program. That's the beauty. It's not. I know it sounds like complicated. It's not,
Mm.
right? When you've got a program that in your computer that is not serving you any longer, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you remove it completely.
That's it. You delete. That's step number one on my mind clearing technique, right? Step number one, you delete. Step number two, you download a program that is going to work better for you. And step number three, you want to see the outcome, the result on the screen of life.
Mm.
So here's the problem. How are you going to do that, right? Because this is three step. It's easy, right? You delete, you download, and you create,
Mm.
right? But how are you going to do it? Well, it's kind of like you need to talk because in my field, I feel they don't speak the same language but the subconscious mind.
Mm.
I used to travel a lot,
Mm.
and 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 what was really frustrating for me is like to see a cool guy like you, and that was he was not speaking the same language than I did, and I
Mm.
couldn't communicate very well, right, to the depth that we can communicate. It's kind of
Mm.
like we are on that podcast. There's no more sound, and I
Mm.
need to explain you with sign language. I need to write down stuff. I mean, that's going to be a mess, right? I mean, that's going to take a long time. And we will never be able to go into that depth of conversation that we're
Mm.
having now, right? So we need to speak the same language. So, what is the language of a subconscious mind? Well, it's like your subconscious mind gives you information. it's kind of like a dream when you're dreaming, right? When you remember of a dream, there's always a picture or a series of pictures associated with a dream. I never had anybody told me, "Hey, Dr. Salas, I remember only the smell of my dream." It just doesn't. It sounds even ridiculous when I say that, right? So
Mm.
there's always a picture. That's why the picture is worth 1,000 words. That's why the subconscious mind can put in a picture 11 million bit of process so much faster because it's processed with picture. That's
Mm.
how the subconscious mind communicate, right?
Mm.
Because you've got symbolism on picture that you cannot even write it down because it can be a different meaning for you than me. We are different culture. You're
Mm.
from South Africa, I'm from France. The symbolism will mean totally different things, right? That's called cultural programming, right?
Mm.
For the good and the bad, the programming is the programming, right? There's
Mm.
good and bad on that, right? And so that's why it's we need to make sure that we speak the same language. And so what I will ask you, I will before I say how to do that, I'm going to ask you a few questions. There are not three questions.
No,
You
no,
believe on what you believe, and that's fine with me. There's no right and wrong, but
no, no
I will
worries.
explain if. So okay. So the first things, if you put limiting belief on your computer on Google, right? If you do the Google thing, well, what they're going to show up, they're going to show up some self-esteem kind of things, right? So
Mm.
I'm not good enough, or I'm too old to do this, I'm too young to do this, right? And so, yes, that's a part of a limiting belief, but that's not only that. There's so much more. And
Mm.
so that's a part of a program that I've got. It's called Goal and Success Clearing, right? So
Mm.
to make sure you reach the goal, you bring the subconscious mind to the party, right? And so,
Mm.
but question number one, do you believe that your mind can create pain in your body?
Yes, 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 I can a lot.
Do you? Yeah. Do you believe? I agree with you, of course. Do you believe? Because I treat people like that every day.
Yeah, no, the
We've
mind.
got like, they've got neck pain. Okay, that's the only things I do online, right? And so they've got neck pain. I've got 70 to 80% of the people who have normal pain after 2 treatment only. And it doesn't matter how long they had that pain because it's a program. If a program in your computer is there for 20 years or is there for 1 month, it doesn't matter when you delete it, you delete it.
Mm.
You see what I
I
mean?
understand.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you have the pen forever. When the program is deleted, there's no more things happening, right? Because you cannot have access to it. It's just in the trash, right? Okay, so for example, let's see if you've got some neck pain, right? So
Mm.
I will say, Mufaro, I want you to visualize you having the worst neck pain that you ever had. So that's going to be your limiting belief, and that's telling your subconscious mind, hey, I want to work on that specific program, right? And so I created a delete program, if you want, that will customize to you, right?
Mm.
And you, not me, I'm just guiding you.
Mm.
I'm giving you the technology to heal yourself, remember?
Mm.
Your innate ability to heal yourself. So it's just to heal yourself because you're going to use your subconscious mind. How do I know what picture, to put? That's your own picture. That's your own
Mm.
subconscious mind talking to you, right? And so we're gonna delete what you don't want, basically. Step number one, you delete what you don't want. And after I say, okay, Mufaro, what you need to do, you need to visualize the opposite of that picture. Now, the ideal outcome, which is obviously no more neck pain, right? And so but maybe for you, no more neck pain, you will be walking by the beach, right? And doing something. For another person, will be doing yoga. For another person, will be jump from an airplane. Who knows? We don't know, right? But it's your picture. You are the one healing yourself. I'm just here to guide you. Of course, it's important to have somebody, right? But I'm just here and to know the technology. So I created a download program that basically you customize to you, right?
Mm.
And so that's step number two. You download into your subconscious mind what you want instead. You don't have to find out what your limiting beliefs are. And that's a major problem with my field. They say, oh, you need to identify your limiting beliefs. So I said, so you mean you're going to use 5 or 10% of your mind, right? Your analytical mind to crack the code of 90% of your mind power? Well, good luck. that's going to be the odds are against you, right? I mean, you see what I mean? So we just replace it. And after, which is very important, and you want to make sure you create that on your screen of life. It means that after, you have no more pain, right? Because, some people talk about the low vibration and things like that, right? You probably have heard about that. So what the low vibration? It's step one and two. So you reprogram your mind. But the law manifestation, that's what you want, right? Which is number three, you want to create that into the physical reality because that's how we learn and experience, right? Because you can say, oh, I'm going to start a business, and you, Bob, is going to be in your mind. If you never start your business, how are you going to experience what it means to own a business, right? There's no way. And that's the missing part. Some people, they say, oh, yeah, I reprogram myself, to have $1 million, and I'm going to sit on my couch and wait. Good luck. It's never going to happen, right? And so the first step is very important to do that. Does it make sense?
And so I was going to ask, in terms of this process, how did you apply it to yourself? Was there a specific mental image that you'd say to yourself? Would you go into a specific space that's secluded? Because everyone interfaces with their mind differently. So each client has a different, I would assume each client has a different way of getting into a space where they can perhaps start having that conversation internally. So,
You, you, yeah, it's not a meditation technique. I do meditation, right? But it's another way to access the subconscious mind, right? But that's not a meditation technique. It's like the first picture that comes to your mind is always the best one because it's less filtered by your conscious mind. So that's a very good question, but it's very simple. I know it sounds like even too simple, right? Are you kidding me? I know, but yes, that's why it should be complicated when you speak the same language, but somebody the language, right? I mean, and after you can express yourself and you can ask for change and correction. That's that simple. The key is to speak the same language, right? That's it.
and I did see some of the testimonies on your website, which were very amazing, especially some of
Yeah,
the issues people have overcome, very serious issues, difficult, emotionally
yeah,
draining issues. So I guess for the audience tuning in, because I'll be honest with you, in our culture here is relatively conservative. So when we start talking about mind and everything,
sure,
people are still not open to it, but there's maybe a bit of skepticism. People
of course,
have that doubt because again, every culture is different, every circumstance is different. I know Africa's social circumstances are very different from the US and Europe in terms of, social infrastructure and everything. So life, I would want to say it's harder here because there's a lot of good here, but it may just leave people's minds a bit more unopened. So I guess my question was, why would other people, how would they benefit from applying this program to their lives in the most practical way? Maybe not expecting big results, but why should people implement this procedure in their daily lives to see improvements?
sure. Well, if we first of all, if we go to the example of that little girl, she should have totally a different relationship. Maybe for a while, no relationship, right? For the mind to settle. And after she will attract something else. And this is, I understand it's a new science, So I understand, our mind takes much more time to change that, other habits like to get like a phone. Now everybody's texting, right? At the beginning, we were saying like, what's this? I mean, a phone, I'm going to have to. So we get into the habits and things like that. So I understand that, right? And so that's why I just tell people, if you feel it's for you, and if you have been everywhere and you think you have been everywhere and try everything, try it. Because there's no denying that the mind is like everything,
Mhm.
right? Let me give you an example. For example, I'm in South Africa, right?
Mhm.
And you probably have some island there, right, or whatever. So I'm swimming there, and
Mhm.
it's beautiful, right? I can see the bottom of the ocean. I'm snorkeling, beautiful. And I'm with a friend of mine, and we really enjoyed it. So we are in the same environment. We're having lots of fun. We're enjoying everything, right? Same environment. And after we get like carried away and we go a little bit further, and suddenly we cannot see the bottom of the ocean. I used to be a competitive swimmer. I have no problem with that. And I didn't know my friend has got a problem with that. and she started to go into panic attack because
Mm.
I didn't know that, she had that fear, not seeing the bottom of the ocean. She freaked out. She may even drown. And
Mm.
yet, we are in the same environment, but our mind is totally different
Mm.
because she's got that fear. So we
Mm.
experience that all the time. The way our past experiences, because the problem is our past experiences, right? Like trauma that we had in our life, right? And also unresolved conflict we've got with ourselves, or with some other family member, for example, they can affect us. And it's
Mm.
kind of the equivalent when you perceive outside. For her, it's kind of having some sunglasses or tinted glasses that will, see that it's very dangerous. And it's not, nothing had changed. It's just
Mm.
only that she cannot see it, right? So
Mm.
we always in daily things, does it make sense? Always in daily things, we experience that. And so that's why, they say like when there's a problem like with somebody who does something illegal, right? And the police is here, and they will talk to like different witness, and they have totally different stories. And
Mm.
the same event, right? Because it depends also their mindset, how they think maybe for one, like the police was made a mistake and was and was bad, for other people that would be the opposite, right?
Mm.
And yet it's the same event, it's the same circumstances.
Mm.
So it's kind of like our past, our unresolved past, our limiting belief, all the negative things we have dictate our present and mold our future,
No.
right?
No.
And when you understand that your past is still, those programs are still running behind the scene. It's kind of like, imagine a triangle here,
Mm.
Faro, right? There's a triangle, and there's limiting belief at the center,
Mm.
right? So if I've got limiting belief on the top of a triangle, I'm going to have negative thought. If I've
Mm.
got negative thought, I'm going to have overwhelming emotion on the right side of the base of a triangle. On the
Mm.
left side on the base of a triangle, therefore, I'm going to have a non-desirable behavior
Mm.
and unproductive action. Let me give you an
Mm.
example. If my dad told me, you're a loser, so that's my limiting belief. I'm a loser at the center of a triangle. I'm going to think I'm a loser. I'm going to feel like a loser. I'm going to behave like a loser. So I'm going to have loser result. If I've got loser result, I'm going to feel even more like a loser.
Mm.
I'm going to think, man, Mufaro, I knew I was a loser, but such a loser.
Mm.
And that's what I call the subconscious stress loop. And all those programs are running behind the scene all the time, dictating our behavior. So our limiting beliefs are controlling us. I know it's not something that, everybody like to hear, but that's the truth. That's how
Mm.
it works.
That's true.
That's how mind
That's true.
works.
That's true. No, and it's
And you cannot, I mean, it's proven.
yeah. No, it's true. We can only create so many excuses for our lives until we have to take accountability. And I actually really like your message in that regard. It's really important that people acknowledge all the factors that might be affecting them before they blame something else.
Yeah, exactly. But also, what I want to say, the good news, it's like, okay, you have been programmed, right? The good news, if you have been programmed, you can be reprogrammed. That's what the mind clearing is about. And so, what I tell people, to be skeptic, that's normal, especially something new, right? And I'm claiming some stuff. I've got more testimonial coming actually that are even mind blowing, right? And so, I understand that people are skeptic. I understand because it's a new technology, but it doesn't. I could have make it like so much more complicated, right? And things like
Mhm.
that to impress people with technology. But I want everybody to be able to understand that because this technique, when I had my insight about it, I knew it was for everybody with desire. You can heal yourself. Matter of fact, a conception, not even birthright, that's your conception right. You
Mm.
are whole. There's not even you can be maybe programmed, but I'm not even sure about that because a baby, even when you look at a baby, is like
Mm.
whose wave as a baby cannot be programmed. That's why they got whose eyes and they perceive reality
Huh.
totally differently,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
And do you think they are in their own universe? They are.
Yeah.
And so there's no analytical process, there's no all that.
Mm.
And so just to zoom out, to have a big picture, like, I wanted to talk to you about that, is this. If you allow me, I think that will be very cool. So let's pretend there's the sun, right? And the sun is the divine, is
Mm.
God, is like some people call it awareness, all what has been and ever can be, or pure love, or whatever your belief
Mm.
is about. And after there's a spark, and that creates your spirit. And
Mm.
this is all non-duality. It means there's no judgment there, right? It's just like I say, pure love, and things like that. And
Mm.
after you've got the sky, and after you've got the physical you and me. Okay.
Mm.
So some people, Mufaro, they've got so many clouds in the sky that they say, there's no sun. I never felt the sun. The sun doesn't exist, right? And so what are those clouds? Those clouds are your limiting belief, right? So you start to delete some limiting belief, and now you can take a glimpse at the sun. You can start to feel the warmth of the sun upon your skin, right? And you take out more limiting belief, and now you get more connected to your spirit.
Mm.
And you realize that you are not what you have been told. You are not only your self-identity. You are not only a physical part, a physical body with body part. You are a spirit living a physical experience. And when you experience that, that's how your life cannot be the same any longer.
Mm.
Because you understand that you're truly a children of God.
Mm. Wow.
And you are not only 5 or 10% of your mind. You understand that you are much more than that.
That's
And
beautifully
that's what
said.
they call, thank you. And that's what they call the awakening process in my book. Like when you start to awaken to the idea that you're so much more than you have been told. We have been told to use our brain, right? To do like problem solving, basically, right?
Mm.
Be a good worker and you're going to solve problem, right? So we are too much in our head. That's our problem. We are too much in our head. And so what happened? We cannot have peace of mind, right?
Mm.
That's the main problem. And so when you try to resolve a problem, is a problem positive or negative thing? That's a negative thing. The problem is a problem, right? So we constantly we want to resolve a problem. After when you're done with that problem, you resolve another problem. That's what 80% are thought, and you can Google what I'm saying. 80% of thought are negative. 95% of thought are the same as the day before. So we like the hamster on the spinning wheel and reliving this program with negative, because why we have negative thought? Because we've got limiting belief program. That's the program that dictates that. That's the reason why. So we're too much in our head. So when we get rid of limiting belief, right, remember we get rid of a cloud, right? So when we get rid of limiting belief, after you've got more peace of mind, right? Because they estimate that 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day we
Mm.
having in our head. That's crazy.
Mm.
It's like so busy out there, right? So now we start to slow down, right? You've got more peace of mind. When you've got more peace of mind, what happened? And you treat trauma, your heart start to open like a flower, right? And after, if your heart start to open a flower, it's so much easier to take action. So I call that the head,
Mm.
the heart, and the hara. Remember the hara? Like it's the book that the acupuncturist guy in France give me, right? The
Mm.
hara, which is about taking action,
Mm.
right? So now, I would, right now we're making decision using only our head, our analytical head.
Mm.
That's not the way we are designed. We're not designed to do that. So when we open our heads, right? Open mind. We open our mind. So it means if you got a problem, when you got closed mind, either you don't find any solution or you got only one solution and reject all the others,
Mm.
even if they come to mind. That's called being closed-minded, right? You're
Mm.
just not open-minded, right? And so now you start to open the mind, right? And the mind start to open. So for this problem, you've got, instead of having one or no solution, you've got 10 possibilities. So now which one you're going to take? You're going to follow your heart. Your heart should be the decision maker. And after, you're going to be able to take action. So let me show you that in a different way. Your head, your thinking, you want peace of mind. You're a man, I'm a man. We know
Mm.
peace of mind is very good, right? So that's a masculine trait, right? Emotion are more obviously feminine trait,
Mm.
right? And after to take action, it's actually both. Let me give you an example. Peace of mind, I follow my heart, and after, oh, you had the gut feeling to start a podcast,
Mm.
masculine, feminine. You had no, yeah, you had the gut feeling, oh, I need to start a podcast. I'm sorry. So that's a feminine, it's intuition, right? And after you had the gut to do that right away. You didn't want to wait. Right away, when you make your decision, you started masculine. In order to create things, what do you need? It's the combination of a masculine and feminine.
Mm.
Where does it take place when you create a baby? In the belly of
Mm.
a mother.
Mm.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Masculine, feminine, masculine and feminine, we create.
Wow. Incredible. No, Dr. Salas, thank you. It's your
That's why I
insights.
wanted to talk about the heart. Yeah.
No, no, and
No, no
I'm
problem.
really happy you put emphasis as the heart is the seat of the decisions, not the head.
Yes. It's
That
everything.
is.
Your heart is your intention. Intention is everything.
Mm.
Because how do you know? Some people they say, oh, they feel guilty or something like that. No, if your heart is in the right place, you try your best. We're all trying our best. We aren't perfect people, right? That's a part. That's why we are here to learn. Now, do we have to learn necessarily to answer your question a long time ago? For suffering, Buddhists will say yes, right? I said not
Mm.
necessarily, right?
Mm.
We don't. I mean, okay, so I will say, okay, you need to suffer. Okay, for how long? What is, acceptable for you? You need to suffer all your life and never learn a lesson, You see what I mean? That's why I say yes and no. Because during the lifetime, you're going to suffer. That's going to make you take action. And for me, that the best thing that happened to me was to have, like within a year, have all this. I will I will do it again, of course, with pleasure, with a smile in my face, because I'm so different. I've learned so much and I can
Mm.
help so many more people. I would never even dream, to be honest with you, to just to be able to help so many people, which what is gonna happen, because we need that technology now. We need to be more connected as human beings, because what the other solution is to be connected to technology, like transhumanism, and
Mm.
technocracy.
Mm.
So is it what you want? I mean, we've got free will, right?
Mm.
If it's what you want, do it. But I think that kind of technology and the mind clearing came to me just to allow to have people, right? Common people, right? Of course, you can be a coach and a health professional, right?
Mm.
And you want to use that technique for your client, of course, of course, for
Mm.
yourself, no problem. But also for the common people, right? Because you don't need to have a PhD on health, on relationship and
Mm.
prosperity. You don't know. You just need to reprogram it. It's like, do you need a PhD when you're going to change a program in your computer? Heck no. You just need to know the instruction, right? To delete, to download, and to create. That's all you need. Are you going to be pleased with the result? Yeah, if you pick up the right program, of course you're going to be pleased with what you see on the screen of life.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated, although it's a subject that is very complicated, right? Because people use, like, instead of having I can say your thought, your emotion, and your action in alignment, right? That's how you're unstoppable, right? They
Mm.
use coherent, and things like that. Say you can use big words, but basically, if I've got my thought, if I've got my emotion, if I've got my action in alignment, I'm unstoppable. For example, if I say in my mind, I'm going to start a diet, right? All right, I'm going to start a diet. And after I feel, oh, you know what, Alan, last time you start a diet, you lose the weight, but you regain even more weight. So that's my emotion. So either I'm going to take no action, or I'm going to say it's not going to last, right? It's not going to be bad. If I do my clearing on my emotion, right? So if I align my thinking, my feeling, and my action and behavior, and make sure that this is like that limiting belief of, basically telling me, oh, you can lose the weight, but you cannot keep it off, right? If I do man clear on that, I'll think, oh, yeah, I can, no problem, I can keep it up. So what I'm trying is, like, people who are skeptical, they will feel the effect right away. Because what I ask people, I say, okay, let's see if it's a thought or an emotion, whatever is bothering you, right? I will say now grade it from how much it bothers you from 1 to 10, right? You tell me 8, I've got anger and it's a 8, right? And so we do the things, and at the end of the session, I ask you how much is bothering you. Maybe 1 or 2, maybe 0, right? Now, if the anger comes back, I call that resistance of healing. So I will say, write down the circumstances, what trigger make you angry, and we'll do mind clearing on that until it's gone. And again, the average 70 to 80% within 2 visits, they're done.
Now, it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing, and it's actually a conversation I needed to have. More than anything, I know this is for the audience, but it's selfish to say, but it's a conversation I needed to hear for the most part. And I hope those of you tuning in, you firstly take something from this. There's a lot that was said. He put it very simply, but it can be more complex,
There's
but
a lot.
he put it as simply for the
Yeah.
common ear as possible. And so I actually, because of time's sakes, I did want to ask, how can people reach out to you, firstly? And do you work with people outside of Europe and the US? Do you plan on expanding the mind clearing program to other regions across the world, if the opportunity to do so happens?
That's my mission in life. That's my mission in life. Until my last breath, that's what I'm going to do. Retirement. I love my job too much. No way, And I've got 8 years old anyway. But no, no, seriously, it's like this needs to be spread out. This needs to be spread out and quickly because of what I told you. We are on a crossroad, right? Either we go with technology and we are with AI, with a possibility of being controlled totally, or we get more connected to our spirit, which is our conception right. It's not even our birthright, it's our conception right, right? To
Yeah.
be because we say people we've got superpower. No, we are born with we not even born, we are conceived with those powers, but the program get in the way and we get disconnected from our spirit and we're disconnected for our divinity, right? And God, we're children of God, created at the same image, right?
Mm.
And so we're getting disconnected, right? And so the
Mm.
goal is just to get rid of this program to make sure that we don't have to suffer, because I don't think we have to suffer, right? I mean, who likes suffering, right? Nobody. But is it a motor? Is it an engine for you to grow? Yes, absolutely. For you to change? Yes, absolutely, right? So anyway, so you go to my website. It's called themindclearing.com. Themindclearing.com. You press contact, right? And you will have a form that show, or you will have my email. And so if they mention your podcast, they will get 20% off of a treatment. It's a 1 hour treatment. It will be done with me personally right now, right? So take advantage, right? And so 20% off, and basically, if you want to learn the entire program, which is the mind clearing program, which is also remember we talk about pain and inflammation, that's called the body clearing, right?
Mm.
And also the goal and success clearing, I will give 50% off. And there's one more thing. We just need to mention your podcast. That's it.
Mm.
There's few more things that I want to say. Number one, okay, like you say, we can talk about that forever. And it's knowledge. Knowledge is important, right?
Mm.
Remember, I'm a knowledge seeker too.
Mm.
But if you don't try it, if you don't experience it, how do you know?
Mm.
Experience is true knowledge. One more thing. Second things, it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you had program. You didn't ask for this program, right? Especially from age 0 to 7, right? But now it's your responsibility that you know to do something about it. And don't be in a victim mode and blaming others. You have to take responsibility. And
Mm.
so instead of, oh, it's because of this or this, oh, I've got program that are controlling me. And that's the way it is. I know people don't like to hear that,
Mm.
but that's the truth. I cannot say that in different way. The good news, if you have been programmed, you can be reprogrammed, deprogrammed, whatever you want to call that. And that's the good news. And it doesn't have to be complicated when you speak the same language. So for those people who think, again, they're being everywhere and try everything, there's hope for you. There's hope for you.
Dr. Salas, it's been an absolute Pleasure. You actually answered my last question. What are your words of wisdom advice for the audience tuning in? So that's pretty cool. You didn't have to answer because you already answered it basically in your statements prior. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'll do my best to promote the podcast. Obviously, we are small and growing, but the goal is obviously to get the message out. That's basically why I started this anyway. So the more people we get, the more we share, the more we connect. And I've really learned a lot from you today. I really have. You've shifted me in a much more positive direction, and I thank you for that, truly. Oh, did you leave? Uh, I think we lost him. Well, no worries, guys. We lost him early, but for those of you tuning in, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and we'll catch you in the next episode.